Best ERB ever.
Good to go? Good to go? Yeah. All right. Hey everyone, it's our Giga-Bites TV painting stream. Right now, John is preoccupado with
losing.
Yeah, losing the game. But I'm here, and right now I'm working on a Iron Jaw Mega Boss. Up. And Joe wandered off. Okay, good. The camera's still running. I saw it lag a lot on the screen, so I was wondering if I was just talking to myself or I was still talking to you guys. But right now, like, I had this model base coated with a little bit of highlighting like a year ago, and right now I'm coming back to it with not knowing what I'm doing. So right now I'm looking at what I like and don't like about what I did previously. I'm just trying to tone down the highlighting a bit by going over it with the original base color again. See if I can't get that to make it look a little nicer. So, see if I can pull it close to the camera. So you see those lines on the armor. So what that is since the orcs beat the metal into shape, they don't actually like the smooth surfaces. What they do is they just punch it into whatever shape they want, and then they slap it on and bolt it together. But I think it's a little too profound what I did previously, so I'm just trying to tone it down a bit, go over all those highlights with, like I said, the base color, which I was fortunate enough to remember. I'm going to do a Voltaire-esque thing here and say, get a paint log, even though I will never do it myself. It's going to help you remember what paints you used on what models. The nice thing is that these orcs are so, I guess, like, just do whatever you want approach that they'll never actually be the same. Every orc I have in the unit so far is basically a different shade of yellow, and that's because when I started with it, I was just experimenting to see what I liked best. So, but it does give each model its own unique appearance. That's something I like about it. But yeah, like I said, just a little too much highlighting, but I think getting over it with the yellow, and I like to sometimes just rub away, so you still have some of the old highlighting there, but it's a little toned down. So I'll get the paint there, and then I'll just brush a little bit away with my finger, you know, have a happy smudging accident there. There we go. But yeah, Mega Boss. This on the camera looks a little bit better. Let's see, a little close up. You can see like I've toned down here a bit, but you can still see it's a little too pronounced. There we go. Sorry, camera. I think it's a little too pronounced here, so I'm gonna try to tone this area down some more. And so I just wet my brush a little so it spreads easier. I use my thumbnail as a palette every single time. Can't stop, won't stop. And what's nice is I also plan on washing this soon. It's going to get a yellow wash, and that's going to try to blend the yellows together a little more. When I first started this, I actually went with the recommendations from the White Dwarf on how to paint this guy. And I'm still following the guide they used of just getting all the edges of the armor highlighted, but I think they went a little too bright with it. So I found a way to dumb it down. I changed a lot of the yellows they recommended until I got what I wanted, which was more of a tamer yellow, not the wildfire yellow. Ochre is a good word, yeah. Which is exactly how I felt this paint job was when I first started. Mediocre. Mediocre. So there we go. Oh, I dragged him off the camera. I'm sorry, guys. All right, so let's see. You got the under chin. Still needs a little taming down. But I think this is really coming together where I want it. Just go over those lines some more. Eat paint, tastes so good. Don't recommend it, but it's just habit now. I'll lick my brush just to keep paint from just collecting on it. My favorite flavor is Aberlin Sunset, which is what I'm using here. So it's a good day. Good day. Let's see. Sadly, actually, I think I need to get the stream up on my phone so I can actually answer any questions if you guys have any. I don't have John's phone ready to let me know if anyone has any questions. So give me 1 second. Maybe I can get that up. Hopefully I haven't missed out on anything. Where would it be? Hey, where can I find the stream, Joe? Alright, thanks. Yeah, I just realized if anyone had any questions or comments, I wouldn't be able to respond, so probably best to get that up. So I think I'm almost done, and I always say that, and then I see something I missed. It's the way of the world.
All right, I'm here, Mark. I'm sorry.
Oh, good. John is here.
Oh God.
What are you gonna be working on, John?
My Gatorman Hoost.
Oh yeah. Show everybody what that is.
So this is one of the preview models from Privateer Press. It's a Gatorman Husk.
Yeah, I'll bring him up a little closer.
He is a undead Gatorman who has been filled with bees for greater service.
Bees. Let's see if we can get a close up on that husk. You can kind of see. Where is it? There we go. Like there's a fly here, just crawling around. It's got bugs crawling out like the cracks of its spine. A really beautiful model. John's got great highlighting already done on it, and he just wants hugs. You can see his stomach is already ripping open. He's got all the bugs pouring out of that too, with some bodily bits as well.
Yeah, so I'll be working on that. Like I said, this is a preview model. It's one of the ones that are coming out in February.
Let's see. Where did my Menoth White go? Oh, it's probably out here already. Aha! This is what happens when you leave your paints on the table over a few days. Alright, so let's get back to... So now that I think I got the yellow where I want it, I'm going to find little spots I missed that are more of the bone color. And I'm going to... Like, that is definitely one color I remember. Whenever I do bone, it's going to be either Shopti Bone from Games Workshop, or it's going to be Menoth White Base. And yeah, those are my go-to colors for bone, because they can always be brought to different colors through washes and highlighting. Say if you want like a really bleached bone, you can just go with more of the bright, cooler whites, or if you want to make it look like it's been excavated, you can go more with the brown whites. The next step in Menoth, the Menoth highlight is a good choice for that. And crazy, it's usually the highlighting that makes a difference, but I like to use it for any wrappings as well. So I missed out on the wrappings inside this guy's hand, so I'm gonna be sure to get that.
So how long have you been working on this guy, Mark?
Oh, well, you know, I started him last year.
Yeah?
Sometime last year, and you know, I think definitely one of my speed painting jobs.
It's amazing to me, like whenever I take a break on models and all that, and I come back to them like 6 months, 8 months later, I'm like, oh god, I better just strip the whole thing and start again.
Well, for me, fortunately, I think I found that I just base coated most of it. Right now, I'm going through and fixing highlighting that I wasn't too happy with.
Yeah.
So, like, the armor I thought stood out a bit too much with the highlighting. So the way they recommend it is that you get the base color on there, and then you take like a white and you highlight the bends in the armor. And I did that, and I was like, all right, too much. So I tried dry brushing yellow over it to kind of tone it down, make that white a little more yellow. And I thought to myself, okay, that's still a bit much. So, like I said before, you're never done. You always find something you missed. So I'm going back and I'm just taking all those previous highlights and doing it and just toning it down. That's all.
Nice. Yeah. All good stuff. Focus. Oh yeah, it marked your. But yeah, so I'm really excited to work on this husk. I was reading through some blind water fluff, and it's pretty cool. I really like it, what they're doing with the faction. I don't think I had a chance to talk to you about this yet, but Barnabas has progressed the Gatormen past like the Stone Age. They are now building like permanent structures and things like that.
What? No way.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
I was like, wait.
So,
All right.
all cool stuff. So yeah, that No Quarter releases this Friday. It's full of all sorts of good stuff.
Come on down. Commence the Gatoring.
Yeah, so any Gator players, which I know we have a couple of now.
Gators have a nice spot that they've etched out for themselves in the meta.
Jesse asked me today if I ever thought I would be playing a full faction, and my response was no. I never thought we were going to get here. Yeah.
How do you tell the difference between an alligator and a crocodile?
Snout, mostly, in
Really?
size. Yeah,
Because one, they see you later, and the other one's after a while.
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your daily dad joke brought by Jesse.
It's reptile etiquette, John. You tell a crocodile, see you, or an alligator, see you later.
I've seen a lot of purple.
It'll be perfectly fine, but you do it to a gator.
They will not.
You're asking to get snapped on. All right, so
Thank you, Emily. I know you, of all people, would know the difference. That's why I like you.
I couldn't hate these guys.
voila. Never done.
And that's my turn.
There we go. And yeah, so like here, too much white exposed. So we're gonna make that yellow again. Make plate armor yellow again.
So your guy has a giant monolith thing on his back. They went that way.
There we go. Tone it Dune. There we go. Voila. So I think it's starting to work. All right, I see the boot here. The camera is exposed. Some spots for toning it down. Here we go. All right. I'm gonna say I'm done again and eat those words in about 5 minutes, but I think I'm gonna risk it. It'll be a happy little accident if I'm wrong. All right. So, should I do a bleached bone? You think for the shoulder piece, since he's always in the sun?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we're gonna find the right color. I think I have it out already. Sickly skin. That has become a favorite for me and John, and it's one of P3's newest paints. Yep. All right, so thin it down a bit, and let's see.
F5s.
We're gonna go where. Highlight where we want. So where the sun would do the most. All the weathering, the
It is a
holes,
wall.
the brims, and even the contour that they show.
But you also get +2.
So kill that.
And I'm guessing here, honestly. I don't think I've done bleach bone too much. I've always done more of the excavated things, so that was just
They hit top gear.
wash it and run away.
So I've got
Now we're gonna have
charge of 7, charge of 11,
teeth.
plus an inch for melee reach. So, a foot. So where your guys are right now is you were 13 out.
I really need to get my wet palette set up again.
Yeah.
Fine. Well, we need to order more of the P3 palette sheets.
So Perfect Press has been out of stock of those for months.
That explains why. I know I tried to get them and I forgot about it.
I've been trying to order them whenever I put in an order. I always look to see if they're there.
What's out of stock?
The P3 wet palettes and refills, as well as P3 white. Just can't get their white primer anymore. It's too good.
Yeah.
Some would say it's like a privilege.
Oh. Wow. Oh, geez.
I hope that's recorded for posterity.
This will mark the moment. This is why Jesse got banned.
All right.
You got some face palms on that.
Say what?
You
Got a
some
face
people,
palm.
are face palm reacting, Jesse.
All right.
The public is fickle.
Don't worry, Jesse. All you have to do is deny you ever said it, even though you're recorded saying it.
China.
Okay, so this guy also, he goes with them.
Oh wait, no, I forgot, Jesse. You're not rich. It's
Yeah, you're kind of.
Did you just assume my financial status?
yeah.
Sure.
Alright, Strackoff has an ability that lets him upkeep for free. Just tricksy like that.
So
Yeah, right.
I guess I'm liking this. The nice thing is
He's also.
it won't be
he's
too
also-
hard to cover up this mistake if I don't.
I don't know what caused all.
One of the nice things is always being able to go back and.
That's what I said to my firstborn.
Oh.
Okay, I'll stop now.
When he's feeding, you stay away.
So Jesse, I have a War Machine question for you since you're very competitive and do well in tournaments and
Let's
stuff.
not get carried away.
So when you deal with a very threatening feat, like they feeded on that turn, and it's something that will really put you on like the precipice of either winning or losing. Like you need to, say for example, stay in the zone, but if you put too much in the zone, you risk losing everything on attrition. Like, what do you usually commit in those kind of situations? Like, do you have a formula you use in your head? It's like, all right, what am I willing to risk? I guess.
Well, it depends on the situation.
I know, but
I mean, if someone has like a very hard alpha, so they out threat you, they out punch you, like your army's really slow. If you're not, I mean, you might have lost at the beginning if you weren't prepared for it. If
Yeah.
the feat's taking you by surprise in a lot of ways. Like Absalonia 2 is a good example of that. If you don't have a plan for her just alphaing you off the board, then you're going to get alpha off the board. If, you have to have some sort of contingency plan. You're going to lose something, right?
yeah. I guess that's really what I'm asking. Is like, what do you typically try to bait out or sacrifice as your like go for this, but I'm gonna kill you afterwards.
If I'm just trying to contest zones, I mean, it obviously depends on what I'm playing, but like when I was playing Convergence, you know, drones do that, servitors do that really well.
Yeah.
Just run out there and be like, we're free, we're also contesting, you need to deal with us.
Yeah.
That can be a mistake against Absalonia too sometimes because she can easily trigger her predatory, I think it's called predatory something.
Oh yeah.
Where she kills a model, everybody gets, I think she get +2 mat and speed.
Yeah.
So you're just giving her a speed buff, which is incredibly dangerous for her because she already threats the world.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're gonna go.
It just depends. I mean, if you're going against if in your pairing, if you don't have something that can handle something that alpha is really hard,
So I've allocated.
unless you just alpha harder, you know,
Yeah.
then you're already going to be on the back foot. So then it's scenario dependent, it's list dependent. But if you don't have a plan for it, then yeah, it's going to be real bad. You're going to have a bad time.
So we're going to activate.
Tactics with Jesse Fons. All right. Let's see. I guess I'm liking the more of the bleach look of it. Let's see if I can't.
Focus battery. Do not remove any unspent focus.
Well, it'll either work out great or it'll work out really not very good.
Just seeing if I can do that. So I'm gonna go in with a brown wash. I believe my usual go-to of sepia,
Do the same thing, but another.
and see if I can't get the shadows done right.
I've got 3 jacks that are all
So the shadows are probably gonna look
ready
like
to go.
still very brown because it's where the sun typically never reaches. I just wanted the edges to be very white, so that bleached effect.
Without actually showing that I'm throwing the I'm like,
Let's see.
Right there.
Get those teeth is done before the wash comes in. So the nice thing is the wash will catch the little ridges in the teeth, and you'll see better detail come out of the teeth with those ridges caught. Yeah.
Roll into your
Voila. All right.
He's got
A little more on the other side. Let's see if we can get a close up. So, back out a bit. Is that focusing? Huh. It's not
It might
really.
sting just a little bit. All right, defense 10.
I guess.
He is Matt.
Without the fingers. I guess it just doesn't really want to focus too well, but getting that lighter. I wish I could.
No, it's just something.
Oh well.
Mr. Ham.
We'll get the last bit of highlighting done,
I believe you still get your shield.
and then we will attempt to wash it.
So
These bugs
he's
are
got a
icky.
power strength 18, dice off 3.
I remember this Scorpion from League of Legends.
Possibly.
One of the things
I
you
think
could,
the RAM doesn't it push back an inch?
It can if you want it to.
one of the things it would say, even though it is a bug, it would be like, "Ugh, bugs are gross," as it tried to like stomp all the bugs underneath it.
Smash into one of this block.
One of my favorite
So
quotes.
dice off 3, 6 to your 4.
The one skin I got that I paid. Well, actually, I didn't pay for it. I pre-ordered League of Legends back when it wasn't a free game.
Yeah.
And so they gave me money, so I got the Cho'Gath skin. Gentleman Cho'Gath.
Nice.
Yeah.
One can escape everything.
Auto hits.
Except death.
Dice off 3.
All right. That's
Don't
fine.
forget you
So-
can shoot your gun.
He's got his no shooting spell up required.
All
Never mind,
right.
I'm not playing the game. Sorry.
It's okay, man. You stop coaching him, coach me.
Sorry. Win.
See?
6 to your 2.
Even our current gamers are trying to pick Jesse's brain for tactics.
They're actually
They're all
just
losing.
Yeah.
That's 9 to
they're just actually trying to get him to stop assembling Signar.
Yeah.
silly shield down yet?
Alright. So, let's see.
Yeah, I did really well in the tournament.
By our final attack.
How did you actually do that?
I went 1 and 2.
There
Sure,
we go.
I'm gonna blame it on my sickness for the day, but more realistically, it's probably just that fact that I'm a fucking scrub.
Times.
Language, Jesse.
TDMA.
Yeah.
It's fine. We got it
Up,
covered.
down.
Oh, we do?
Go
No.
start at the
All right.
Yeah, especially when you say after the fact.
Yeah. We'll fix it in post. We're live. It's like the German soccer coach who dropped an F-bomb and everyone just stared at him. It's like, what? You can't say that on American TV? And so he had to issue an apology. The network issued an apology. Basically, everyone was really sorry, and I think the only people who cared were like the moms at home who wanted to watch, moms and dads at home who wanted to watch it with their kids. It's like,
But here's the thing: no one watches soccer in America.
What's soccer? You mean football?
well, you have to realize that. All right, so the camera's catching the brown pretty well, so I get to see where there's too much of it. So I'm gonna see if I can go back and just with that brush and pick up
I'm not gonna say that.
where there's too much. Take it away.
I'm not gonna say that, Jesse.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go ahead.
That was a
Yeah.
good use of that. Control range.
All right. Sometimes you put your hand behind. Oh, yeah. That's what I thought too, Chris. Is that it might be my hand, and then I try to. You think my hand keeps it in focus better?
Yeah.
Friendly models.
I guess yeah. It keeps the background the same.
Hits, maybe. Yes,
Alright.
hits.
I guess we'll go with that, and then I'm gonna dry brush it with that original color. See if that works for me. What is next though? I guess yeah, we can bring that sepia to the wrappings. So that'll make those pop, and we can go back with a highlight with those as well. So we're just gonna go on the axe handle.
Eight to his stand four.
Orcs aren't necessarily the cleanest, so their cloths are probably going to be more brown than blue. On the more warm, I guess, is the better term than cool. Even though orcs are the coolest.
9, 7 to your. But not as Cortex. So. Yes.
And that we can also come back and highlight once that dries. Another word to the wise: always let your washes dry. Patience is key. I say this every single time I use washes, and ignore myself 50% of the time. But I'm getting better at it. I would say I ignore myself only 25% of the time now. And I will always wait for washes to dry. Unless I don't.
Well said.
I wait 100% of the time, 50% of the time.
I've definitely hurt the resale value of a few of the jacks. But we haven't killed anything
It
yet.
gets... And that just makes detail pop. But we already know an orc never removes his armor because that would leave him unprepared for a scruff, which he wants 24/7.
An orc also never tells.
Yep. What happens in Orc Vegas stays in Orc Vegas.
Wog.
Yeah. New August.
It's a range 12.
There we go.
Monolith Assault.
To the right down there.
Monolith Assault advantage.
Alright, we're gonna see if we can get the focus.
Range attack must occur after the model ends its movement but before it ends its combat action. So, can't shoot you. Does it say I can't target you, or because it's a square? not magic.
Nothing we
I'm
can
not too
do,
worried
or
about Persian Jack. I am worried about it's bracelets.
I guess just
Yeah.
if we leave autofocus on, is that fine? Or
I know it's gonna go back. So just pick it up. Pick it up.
all right,
Yeah, just continue.
all right. Well, I guess focusing will be
Yeah, something I haven't said.
one remaining issue. All right, so we have my cold steel. And I'm going to fix spots that got a little paint on them. So he has chainmail hanging from various spots, like his shoulders. And I'm just gonna go back and get those looking metal again, because those chain links should not be yellow in most cases. Yeah, these are still models that you collect and paint, so if you want yellow chains, who am I to say?
We'll work around it.
But for this orc, he will not have the yellow chains.
Burning one of your choir members. I thought it was ironic.
He will have metallic.
Okay.
Probably stolen off some idiot dumb enough to stand in front of him. Because orcs are definitely a big fan of scrap. Even in the 40k or Age of Sigmar universe, they're always looking for more metal to just beat into shape. One of my favorite stories I have in the book is actually where the orcs go to a demon forge and just they start wrecking up the place, and then they take all the scrap metal for themselves. But this scrap metal was possessed by demons, and so what they ended up doing was they made armor out of metal that was just trying to kill them. And because it couldn't, they figured they were just more super killy because even their armor was trying to kill them, and it couldn't. So now nothing could. Orcs are cool. I like their simplistic mindset. It's fun to just be like, I would have been a better general, but I tried to play it as an orc would and charge straight forward to my death.
There are no tactical retreats.
Yep. There's just a fight in a different direction you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is 10.
All right. Cold black, I believe, is what I was using, so that's right here. Whoops, bumped the camera. And so right now we're just in fix-it mode, which seems to be the theme of today's paint, is just fixing it.
You want to get a close-up of
Oh yeah.
poor pitiless Joe's belly?
There we go.
Final attack.
So this is what I've been working on. I'm trying to keep it in there. I can't.
Oh, you want me to give it a shot? You want to talk and all?
Yeah, so this is part of the Gatorman Husk's belly. I've been working on that. He is festering full of this giant swarm hive in him. Super gross. But I've been working on the belly and the flesh parts, so yeah. Emily, do you not like that? Do you not like this poor guy's belly?
All right. All right.
Emily, they just released the rules for these guys in Iron Kingdoms. So, you know, the party might have to run into one of these guys at some point.
Not at the minute.
No.
Gotta be face to base.
Not saying it's a definite, but you know.
Zone is not. Whereas right
Can you
now,
hand me my cold black in there, John?
Sure.
that's what
So, I picked up the wrong paint. It's near the back edge. Yeah. Thank you.
possibly you can load up for focus and go to town.
I think what Emily says is she wants some for Christmas.
I have trees still has some work.
I know in her heart of hearts she would play Gatorman and
Well, John, you should green stuff the bugs to become birds, right?
Oh yeah, so he's
Or
just like stuffed
lizard.
to the brim of birds.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Something that's a unit attachment, like with the
Um,
Creel stones.
there we go.
Would that count toward the fury you could put on the unit of Creel stones?
What's the rule say?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. That's what it looked like it said.
Yep.
All right.
I
It
see you there, just
just says for each
You're good.
model in the unit, you can add it. Your Fury cap goes up.
Yeah.
Gator decks get fast.
Well, I generally go into teacher mode and make them read it back.
Yeah. But
It's just like, provide the answer. This man will eat for a day.
Yeah,
Giga-Bites Cafe.
yes, he does. But that's not what he's worried about.
I guess while I'm still in wait mode for the washes, I'm going to get my orc's teeth painted. Oh, well, now my mom is calling. Terrible timing.
I miss a shoe back.
I'll have to call her back in a
It's like
few.
trucks, but we also are slow.
So, let's get them teethses painted. Now, orcs aren't the best caretakers of their teeth, but the nice thing about being an orc is that you just grow new ones.
Their economy's in shambles.
Yeah, well, if orcs had dentists, their economy would be in shambles because they usually pay for things with teeth. Like the teeth you either knock out of whoever you were brawling with. I remember reading about a 40k orc tribe that was fairly rich because their teeth grew back faster. And so they were able to... Huh?
The bad moon.
Yeah. So it's just a funny way of looking at it. That it's like, all right, our economy's doing great because we have a lot of teeth. But I mean, that's not gonna be their only form of currency since they do particularly enjoy scrap. So they'll take the iron price, haha, as well.
Lol.
Keck, Zug. Oh man, kind of wish I had painted the. I'm not one who enjoys painting things separately and then gluing them together. I feel a lot of the times I will glue over details or just mess it up by having too much glue show up in spots. So I tend to glue it, prime it, and make sure that that's the only thing showing. And then I just painstakingly go through the process of painting with all the stuff in the way. It's funny that I mentioned this now that I'm looking into his hood. There's a lot of areas where the paint isn't going, and there's primer still. So, ooh, remember when I said we're never finished? This is just more proof. So now,
Depression with Mark Schubach.
yeah, it never ends. But so I'm just going through, getting. I think we're doing well here. All right.
Yeah, you just do a little better every time.
Yeah. But you see his teeth. He now has white shiny teeth, which we're gonna dumb down a bit because, like I said,
What do you normally start with on teeth?
on teeth. Before I would usually go with the Menoth white base, but I went with the sickly this time,
Okay.
and I'm gonna try to see if I can just wash it down. Let's just say he got out of a pretty bad scrap and lost all his teeth, and you know he's got a fresh new pearly whites grown in. But we're still going to get a sepia in there, make it look a little dirtier than just a fresh, clean set of teeth.
Mark, would you say he's a dirty orc?
Oh yeah, dirty.
How dirty
bad
is he?
orc. Needs to be punished.
Ooh.
Emily says to give him at least one gold tooth.
Ooh. Well,
I mean, Emily said a grill, but I'm going to.
yeah, tone it down a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Nope, I took a theme and they gave me free cards, so I'm like, yeah, I'll take them.
I'll give him a gold tooth. He's the boss because he's the shiniest now. And the biggest.
Oz the Fabulous.
Always got the best accessories. But before I do that, I need to get that tongue painted. So
I'm so 932. You're so 874.
I don't even know what year it is or how to count.
Oh, attacks, nice.
So nice thing is I forgot to do this earlier, which means I might have to go
That's
over.
not that hard. What's your math?
Now I can't even tell on camera, but yes, his tongue is now
Fours and threes.
now a nice
Except he is defense 12.
burgundy.
He has superiority.
Let's see. Yeah, all right, there we go. You can kind of see his tongue now. Rawr. All right, now we want to bring some detail to the face. Look, face.
Yeah, special actions usually mean that's it.
And so I'm going to look for
And then do the special actions.
a lighter green than what I've been using, which I think, yeah, Strachan green is pretty light.
So there are certain models out there that have.
And so what we're going to do is just find the edges on the head, give them a nice highlight. Alright, let's see, can't do this while you guys can see, so.
Okay.
No, I can't see. So usually eyebrows, like the ridges of the nose,
Do any of them have fire?
the lips, the cheeks. These are places you want to look for. That, you know, would be a brighter, more exposed part of the face.
Understand.
What you stealing?
This metal white base. The one bone to pick.
And I got a bone to pick with you. It's like, you could count on me waiting for you in the parking
this
lot.
is a bug. Whoops.
Oh no, John made a mistake.
It's hard to tell. He wasn't painting yet.
Yep. When I was painting Chromac, the Circle Warlock, I was painting all the knickknacks he has on his belt, and it took me painting over to realize that I had painted a hand green. I did not realize it was a human hand he just had.
Oh, both his arms. Oh, good.
They say the perfect portion size is a fist, so I guess Chromac took that literally.
He took the fist literally.
Yep. He's like, oh, well, I need one portion, so just cuts off the hand and takes it with him. It's like, here's my
Onto
portion.
the Growlar. Alright, let's see. You hit. You hit.
Nice snack.
Yep. Arm 20. And you've got your plus 2.
Alright, let's see. We got the back of the head. It's nice and shiny. We got ourselves a chrome dome here.
Noise.
And
So your dice plus 1.
go in with the finger. Make that a little less extreme of a highlight. 'Cause sometimes, like, it's kind of cheaty. I don't recommend it if you're not used to it. But it was just me learning to kind of correct my mistakes and discovering I could get something out of it was just rubbing the paint away.
Oh, that's right.
So now you see the face is kind of popping more. I think it shows on the camera.
Gurus, if I might.
And
Beat back. I sacrifice
one thing we can do is give him
If I beat back, can I move the
burning red eyes that pierce the heavens.
Yeah, the only so just to stand up, you sacrifice your movement, right? To stand up, so that you're just standing up model.
All right.
So unless you have something that says like you cannot move,
Tone down the paint until we have it at a nice fine point.
Correct. Right.
There you go, red there. And that's going to be a little difficult. So what I'm going to do is tilt it where I brush is cut off from my view for a second, but it gives me a better angle at the second eye. And I think I screwed up.
Well, good for you. You got his movement. That was
No,
pretty
I
impressive.
got both the eyes.
Just kind
Let's
of
see.
sniped that right out of him.
See, the eyes are red now.
So now he drops to
And if you want it to still look like
and
still look like an eye, you can always find a brighter, like for example, an orange would be great. So we can try that and give it a pupil that still shows up in the red, just like my tax return.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. No, just kidding.
Too real.
Yeah, no.
No, you can't say that because he's only red.
So let's see if we can't get pupils in here.
which is a shield army
Nah. So the one thing I suffer from a lot is getting that little smidgen of paint to make it to the eye. And I think I succeeded here. No, I don't think it's going to be detailed that you can see on this camera, but
Yep, 2 dice on that.
so we're going to get a pupil
Your dice off 15, which I still don't understand. Power strength 13
there.
plus 2 from the choir. You're -5.
And a pupil. Dear God, just gonna.
That's all I'm like, I don't. Alright, so he is going to.
All right. Surprisingly, I think that worked out.
Hooray.
Yep. So we've had it before where this is ages ago, but a guy had a high elf army for Old Fantasy, and he traded it away, but the models made their way from person to person. And whenever they showed up on the table, it was just high elves with the eyes. The caution was thrown to the wind with the eyes, so it would be a giant, like think of the googly eyes, but on like proportional for elves. So they had like anime-sized eyes, but with just soul-piercing pupils that were like 50% of the eye, and not both of them straight. So you have these crazy-eyed elves. Yeah.
That's what this makes, right?
All right. So let's see. So that's the skull on the side with the bleach look with a brown wash. So I think it brought out a lot more there. And I'm gonna go through and try to lightly dry brush so that it doesn't look caked. That's one thing I always find an issue sometimes with dry brushing is that it gets a caked look to it, and I'm gonna try to avoid that. So let's see. We're gonna go with the sickly skin again. Tip, and I'm gonna use back of my hand again. And let's see. So see that it's kind of not showing up anymore on my hand, so I think that's the perfect time to do it.
Alright, so
And just go over. There. Good. I just see ridges that I really want to have a little more white on it. I'm gonna go looking for those. The teeth I want really to have more white on it. And for those of you at home, keep in mind what brush you're using for dry brushing, because this is not a kind technique to your brushes. it will destroy it quickly. There are brushes you can buy that specifically say dry brush. That's what this is. It's a large dry brush from Army Painter. It was made to be hated and treated poorly. But consider what you use. I had Winsor Newton for the longest time, and it's lasted me so many years, but there was a few situations where I was like, I have it in my hand, I'm gonna dry brush a little bit with it, and that was a sad mistake. But it was a Winsor Newton that was just dropped in my lap, and I didn't really know what treasure I held. But now I do. I know better. Alright, so there we go.
I can't even look at you right now.
Yeah, I know. Jesse's just really hating on me. Monster. So there, I think you can see the teeth show up a little better. And it just really gets that nice skull look. Actually, I should probably hit the inside of it too, between the two horns. And Jesse's doing a good job not looking at me. Kudos to that.
Huh?
Yeah, not even. I don't even exist to him anymore after I did that.
Who said that?
Newton. All right. So we also have ropes on the model, and my phone just refuses to let my voicemail from mom message drop off. So. Yeah, I know. Mark, why don't you love me?
Tim is in the world.
Clean that off. Yeah.
That's why she can fix it. I'm gonna go.
Joe, can you break me off a piece of that Kit Kat paper towel?
Yep, dice off 7.
Thank you. What's up? You. Alright, Yep. Alright, so got that all cleaned. Strong brush, let me use what I was using. So the skull isn't just sitting on his shoulder without any effort, it's roped on there. So we're gonna get those ropes painted. And my favorite color to use for ropes is Rucksack Tan. It just always seems to be a decent color. Be it either like leather straps or like just the shoestring straps for leather, or like twine or whatever. It just seems to always be a great color to use. It doesn't really steal any detail away, but it still pops on its own. So you still focus mainly on the skull, but you see that it's tied to him somehow. And that typically, because there's really not too much detail you can put on a rope unless you have that twisted braid. I tend to just wash it and then highlight back with the same color, so you do get that contrast to where light isn't hitting the strands that are next to each other, but at the same time you're not just giving it an extreme difference. It's there, it has its own shading, but it's not extreme.
Bye, Mikhail.
See you later. I gotta cook this fillet mignons tonight that Mikhail gave me. What a generous person.
I think Joe's getting antsy.
Okay. Before you make towards your target.
But yeah, look at the muscle groups.
Corrosion and fire.
So,
The other two.
he's getting there. He's such a pudgy boy. He's got bugs on his snoot.
Edge of your base. So yeah, you got it.
Yeah, that's looking really good, John. And I like the torn flesh on his arms. Look at that, guys. Let's see it. His shoulder there, his arm there. Looking really good.
Maybe.
Thank you. And oh yeah, that's right. Washing the.
Honestly, you're just get your jabs. If I can get them down, that's where.
So this, I think, will be my mini of the week that I'm gonna work on. Because fortunately, the goal is to finish 1 mini a week, not start to finish 1 mini a week, since I kind of got a head start on this guy a while ago.
A mini a year.
Yeah, I mean that was my former pace, Jesse. Was a mini a year.
Better than mine.
I think my typical pace was like 1 commission a year.
Is it really? I was expecting Jack Mahler.
I mean, he's fairy tale too, but
That's where I am right now. I will avoid commissions as much as possible. Money is nice, of course, but the commitment it takes and the joy of painting it takes away is insane. So I try to avoid it at all costs now. I will do something for friends, but that's about it. Joy, you want to take over? My mom's calling again.
Joe.
Yeah, if you target
Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be here next week,
Defense 5.
hopefully
hit
with
melee.
Sean Twitty.
Armor 18.
So yeah,
15
until then,
box.
you guys have a great time.
And they're
Bye.
friendly faction models, so they benefit from things like the stone.
Oh, okay, so they can do stuff. All right. Let me
Is he